Have you ever stopped to think about how the sugar you use every single day is actually made? Not from a box in the store, but from real plants that grow in fields and then go through a long journey before they become those white grains we all know? The process begins in two main ways, depending on the region. Some sugar comes from tall sugarcane plants that grow in warm tropical fields, while other sugar comes from thick sugar beets that are pulled up from the ground in cooler climates. Once they are harvested, the clock starts ticking because the natural sweetness inside them fades quickly, so workers move fast. Cane stalks, which look a little like bamboo, are chopped and loaded into trucks that rush to the mills, and while beets are lifted from the soil and washed before processing. At the mill, the real work starts. Cane stalks are crushed by huge machines with heavy rollers that press out a greenish juice that smells earthy and raw, while beets are cut into thin strips and soaked in hot water to draw out their sweetness. What comes out at this point is not something you'd want to taste. It's cloudy, dirty, and full of plant fibers and soil. That raw juice has to be cleaned. Inside large tanks, heat is applied and lime is added, while bubbles of gas help pull the unwanted material out. Slowly, the liquid clears, turning into something golden and bright, ready for the next step. Now comes the heart of the process, where sugar begins to actually form. The liquid is boiled in special equipment under low pressure so it doesn't burn, and as the water disappears, the juice thickens into syrup. Into that syrup, workers add tiny sugar crystals, and this is where the transformation happens. The crystals act like seeds, and as the syrup cools, more and more crystals start to grow around them. Soon the tank is full of a mixture of syrup and solid sugar, called masakuite. This mixture is then spun at incredible speed in giant centrifuges, machines that sound like jet engines, which separate the dark molasses from the bright sugar crystals. When the spinning stops, you're left with raw sugar, golden, slightly sticky, and sparkling in the light. But that's not the sugar you usually see in your kitchen. To get the pure white grains, raw sugar has to go through refining. The crystals are washed, melted, filtered, and boiled again until the color and leftover taste are removed. They are then crystallized once more, dried, and cooled. What finally comes out looks exactly like the sugar you pour into your coffee, white, even, and clean. Meanwhile, the byproducts are not wasted. The molasses, thick and dark, goes on to make rum, baked goods, or even feed for animals. In fact, almost every part of the process is used in some way. But behind all these machines and steps are real people. Farmers spend long hours in the sun cutting cane by hand or guiding harvesters through beet fields. Truck drivers work through the night to deliver crops before they spoil. Engineers and operators monitor the boiling pans, the centrifuges, and the filters to make sure every batch comes out right. Communities around the world have relied on sugar for centuries, not just for sweetness, but as part of their culture and economy. Sugar has shaped trade, built industries, and even changed history. But today it slips quietly into your tea, your cookies, or your bread without a second thought. Every spoon you use has gone through fields, machines, heat, and human effort. It has been crushed, cleaned, boiled, spun, refined, and packed before it reached your hand. So the next time you pour sugar into your drink or sprinkle it over food, remember it is not just a simple ingredient. It is the result of a long journey that starts in the soil and ends on your table. A journey full of hidden steps and human effort. The untold process of how sugar is truly made.